So therefore, F12 is equal to minus F21. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. Here also force is equal to mass into acceleration. Time get cancelled. Let us take this is m1, this is m2. Therefore, m1 into v1 minus u1 is equal to minus m2 into v2 minus u2. Therefore, it is m1 v1 minus m1 u1 is equal to minus m2 v2 plus m2 u2. I am bringing all u's one side and all v's are one side. Therefore, this is m1 u1, it goes to this side, and this is minus m2 v2 coming to this side. So m1 v1 plus m2 v2 is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. With the order, we are equating with the help of initial momentum to final momentum. Therefore, m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. By observing this equation from LHS to RHS, we can say that the total momentum before collision is equal to the total momentum after collision. That means there is no change or no decrease or no increase in the momentum before or after collisions. This is called law of conservation of linear momentum. So the net momentum before collision is equal to the net momentum after the collision. After the collision, velocities are changed to v1, v2 from u1, u2. There is no change in the mass. So this statement is called law of conservation of linear momentum. What are the examples for the law of conservation of linear momentum? In the beginning only we have said that law of conservation of linear momentum is the applications of Newton's third law of motion. The applications are examples which are valid in the Newton's third law of motion. The same examples we can mention here. The examples of this concept are: first one, recoiling of gun, as we mentioned in the Newton's third law of motion. When a bullet was fired from the gun, the same velocity, the gun will move back. So to compensate the force or to bear with the force, the soldiers used to put the head of the gun on the shoulder. That is one of the example. The second example, propulsion of rocket. So as we know, the smoke which is coming out of the nozzle will give the sufficient force to lift the rocket towards the up direction. Therefore, it is F1 which is coming out. This is F2. For every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. Third one, suppose if any passenger who is lifting down from a boat, the boat will move away from the seashore because of the law of conservation of momentum. Moving away from seashore when a passenger is lifted down. These are all the examples of the law of conservation of linear momentum. Here one problem which is based on the concept of law of conservation of linear momentum. The description of the problem is: a 30 kg shell is flying at 48 meters per second. When it explodes, its one part of 18 kg stops while the remaining part flies on. What is the velocity of the latter? there is a shell. Its mass is 30 kg. Therefore, mass of the shell, capital M, is equal to 30 kg, which is flying at 48 meters per second. Initial speed or the speed of the shell (48 meters per second). While it is traveling with these dimensions, it explodes. It's one part of 18 kg, means the same 30 kg was split into two parts. One is 18 kg, automatically the second one will be 12 kg. So we can write 18 kg of is M1. So mass of one part M1 is equal to 18 kg, as well as it was stopped after the explosion. That means initial velocity of one part U1 is equal to 0 or V1 is equal to 0. So he is asking what is the velocity of the later. That means we should find out U2 is equal to how much, where M2 is 12 kg. So according to the law of conservation of linear momentum, the total momentum before collision is equal to the total momentum after collision. So according to law of conservation of momentum, the net momentum before the collision is equal to the net momentum after the collision. So we will substitute these values in the given formula. Therefore, capital MV is equal to M1 U1 plus M2 U2. Capital M is 30, velocity is 48, is equal to M1, mass of the first exploded part is 18 kg and its velocity is 0, plus mass of the second exploded part is 12. Now we should find out U2. So therefore it is 1440 is equal to 0 plus 12 U2. So therefore 1440 is equal to 12 U2. Therefore U2 is equal to 1440 by 12. It will be 120 meters per second. This is the velocity of the later. Later means the second part after the explosion, which is moving with this velocity to conserve the linear momentum. Next, the connected motions. Before this concept, we had discussed the force directly imparted on a single body. Now, if the same force which is applied on a connected body means one body and another body which is connected through a pulley or through a wire. If you applied the force on one body, what will be the force experienced by the second body? Like this, we are discussing the connected body's motion. The best example to understand this concept is Atwood machine. The structure of the Atwood machine is nothing but two equal masses which is hanged on pulley while they are doing the to and fro motion, nothing but the simple harmonic motion. So take a pulley, arrange a thread on the pulley, these are the two sides of the thread. One is connected with one body, another end is connected with another body. As usually, there is a difference in the masses of these two bodies which are connected on either ends of the thread which is pulled over by a pulley. So this is, let us suppose, M1, M2. If the M2 body is coming down in the direction of gravity, the M1 body will move up. That means the bodies M1 and M2, they both are doing the relative motion with respect to each other. Now we should find out the tensional force created by these two masses on the pulley and acceleration of this system. The tensional force direction will always change. If the body is coming down, tensional force is always moves up because the pulley is almost acting like a force of resistance. If the body is moving up, tensional force will move down. So the tensional force is always in the opposite direction. So let us suppose the body M2 is coming down. So therefore the tensional force always up towards the M2 because of the M2. If M1 is moving up, so the tensional force will come down. So we should find out the tensional force or the net force acting on the bodies individually, then we will add, therefore we will find out the net tensional force acting on the pulleys. So therefore the first situation, net force acting on mass M2 is equal to M2A. The body is coming down, so its weight is M2G and the tensional force is going up. Therefore M2A is equal to M2G minus tensional force. Let us say this is equation 1. And the net force acting on mass M1 is equal to M1A is equal to, here the motion of the M1 is exactly opposite to the motion of M2. So they both are opposite in direction. So therefore the equation will be T minus M1G because T is coming down which is in the direction of the gravity, M1 is going up. So therefore it is T minus M1G. Let us suppose this is equation 2. So by adding equation 1 and 2 on both sides, so on both sides, on LHS it will be M1 plus M2 into acceleration. On the RHS it will be M2G minus T plus T minus M1G. Therefore this T and T get cancelled. This will be M2 minus M1 of G is equal to M1 plus M2 of A. So therefore the equation is M1 plus M2 of A is equal to M2 minus M1 of G. Therefore the net acceleration of the Atwood machine A is equal to M2 minus M1 by M1 plus M2 of G. So this is net acceleration of Atwood machine. We can substitute this A value in any previous equations, whether it is equation 1 or equation 2, we will get the tensional force value also. Now we will do the same thing. Now the first equation is m2g minus t is equal to m2a. The second equation is t minus m1g is equal to m1a. Now we are dividing equation 1 by 2. Therefore, on LHS it is m2g minus t by t minus m1g. On the RHS it is m2a by m1a. A get cancelled. Therefore, it is m2g minus t by t minus m1g is equal to m2 by m1. Now we should cross multiply the two equations which are on the opposite sides, then we will get the tensional force answer. So therefore, m2g minus t by t minus m1g is equal to m2 by m1. So now I am cross multiplying. So m1 into m2g minus t is equal to m2 into t minus m1g. Therefore, it is m1 m2g minus m1t is equal to m2t minus m1 m2g. So we can keep all t terms one side and all g terms to the another side. Therefore, m1 m2g plus m1 m2g is equal to m2t plus m1t. This will be 2m1 m2g is equal to m1 plus m2 of t. Therefore, tensional force is equal to T is equal to 2m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 into g. This is the equation for tensional force which is created in the Atwood machine. This is a question which is based on the concept of pulley, nothing but the Atwood machine. The statement of the problem is a fixed pulley with a smooth groove has a light string passing over it with a 4 kg attached on one side and a 3 kg on the other side. Another 3 kg is hung from the other 3 kg as shown in the figure with another light string. If the system released from rest, find the common acceleration. See, on one side m1 is 4 kg, but on the second side m2 is 6 kg because this 3 kg and 3 kg hanged in the same line. On the another side, both will be in the same alignment towards the gravity. So therefore, m2 is 3 plus 3. So the common acceleration A is equal to, if it is released from rest. If it is released from rest, it will do the oscillatory motions, is equal to m2 minus m1 by m1 plus m2 of g. So what is m2? m2 is 3 plus 3, 6. m1 is 4 by 6 plus 4 into 10. Therefore, acceleration is equal to 6 minus 4 is 2 by 6 plus 4 is 10 into 10. 10 and 10 get cancelled. It is 2 meters per second square. If the body is released from rest, its acceleration will be 2 meters per second square. The next problem, which is based on the same concept. The theory behind the problem is a light string passes over a frictionless pulley. To one of its ends, a mass of 6 kg is attached. To its another end, a mass of 10 kg is attached. Find the tension in the string. Tension in the string T is equal to 2m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 of G, where m1 is equal to 6 kg, where m2 is equal to 10 kg. Therefore, tensional force is equal to 2 into, where m1 is 6, m2 is 10, whole divided by m1 plus m2 is 10 plus 6 into 10, where G we are taking as 10 meters per second square. Therefore, it will be 2 6 are 12, 12 into 10, 120 by 16 into 10. So, the tensional force will be 1200 by 16. So, it will be 75 newtons. (1200 by 16) we will get 75. The next concept is friction. It is also a force which is we are imagined, but it has a lot of key roles playing in our daily life. What is the meaning of friction? Let us suppose this is a smooth plane and this is a rough plane. We have dropped one body of uniform shape. On the smooth plane, the body can move to the longer distance when compared to the motion of the same body on the rough plane. The observations did by us is, on rough plane, the body will come to rest before the smooth plane. Means it will come to the rest earlier than the smooth plane. Will come to rest earlier than smooth plane. Generally, we can say that the body has to cross over all the crests and troughs, all the valleys and the heights. That's why while it is overcoming, it will lose the energy. That's why it comes very easily towards the rest position. That is our natural view. But there are many reasons which are secretly behind it. One more thing is, of course, the body is moving on the smooth plane also. Automatically, after traveling to some distance, it will come to rest. Coming to rest is common on the both planes, but here it will come early, here it will come some late. Why it is coming to rest? We have applied some force to move the body. Because of the small amount of the force, just knocked the object. The object is moving to the longer distances, but after some distance traveled, the body is again coming to the rest position. Means nothing that it is reaching the initial position. What is the reason behind it? That means there is some other force which is invisible, was impacted on the body by the planes. That force is really objecting the motion of the bodies on the plane. The force which is playing in the opposite direction to object the motion of the bodies on the plane, or the relative motion of the plane and the object, is called frictional force. This frictional force is always tangential to the surface. This frictional force is more in the rough plane when compared to the smooth plane. The symbol of the frictional force is small f, where the symbol of the mechanical force is capital F. So what is the definition of the frictional force? So the force which comes to play tangentially to resist the relative motion is called friction. A force which comes to play tangentially to resist the relative motion is called frictional force. This tangential force between the surfaces. This is the actual definition of the frictional force. What are the reasons for the frictional force? First reason is roughness. Roughness or irregular structure. If you see the polished marbles which are in a room, the body will move with uniform velocity because there is no irregularities on the plane. If it is unpolished, if it is having some slopes, it has some crests and troughs, the body won't move easily. So irregular structure and the roughness are the main reasons behind the frictional force offered by the surfaces. If the object was used for many days without any proper maintenance or without any proper servicing, that body can cause to apply more friction on the bodies. Long duration of usage. The best example we can see in this list is motor vehicles. If the body was not properly serviced within the regular time intervals, then the body won't move properly. It consumes more oil, it needs more force to accelerate it. So it is almost a loss of energy for the customer and the loss of fuel for the customer also. So these are all the leading reasons for the frictional force impacted on the objects by the different surfaces. Many other reasons are there. Some are visible, some are invisible. These are the common reasons what we are facing in our daily life. The next concept is advantages of friction. This friction had many advantages. How it is advantage? If in case of contact to contact bodies, it is disadvantage. But in our daily life, friction had many advantages. First one, suppose if you want to sit in a chair, without the friction between the surface to the chair, it is very difficult to sit properly in a chair. So, to sit properly in a chair, friction must be. Friction between chair and surface must be. When we sat together, then the chair and the human body will be in the friction. Second one, to hold an object like me, if I am holding a marker, this is nothing but the frictional force between the fingers to the surface of the marker. To hold a glass, to drink water, to hold a pen, to hold a pencil, to hold any object which is a carry bag or any of this is a big basket, whatever it may be the size, to carry any object, to hold any object, frictional force must be. To carry the object or to hold the objects. These are all the advantages. The fourth example, if you are tying the knots, suppose if you see the some of the workers who are painting on the walls of a top building, or some of the firemen used to use the ropes to go to the dangerous areas which are in the first floor or second floor or the seventh floor with the help of the ropes if the fire accident was took place. So if you see the rope, there are many ties, many knots of the ties. Of course, they are the nylon wires. The ties are the knots which are made up of friction. Knots in the string. So fifth one, you can say, suppose if you want to support a ladder onto the wall, on the top to the bottom, the bottom part of the ladder is in contact with the surface. The frictional force is helping to support. At the same time, the frictional force onto the wall to the top part of the ladder is supporting to fix the ladder in a perfect way. So the frictional force between the surface and the wall between the ladder or along the ladder is keeping one of the advantage. The frictional force between ladder, surface and wall can keep these three in a safe slide position. Like this, we can assume many advantages of friction. Not only this one, many examples are there. For the safe walking on the floor, the friction is needed. To ride a vehicle, whether it is a cycle or motor vehicle, friction is needed. To ride the vehicles, the friction which gives a sufficient grip to the floor, to the tire surface, which gives the keep on going or to the objects. That's why these are the advantages of friction. Like this, we can assume many examples. What are the disadvantages of the friction? Disadvantages means there are many losses due to the friction. What are those losses? So friction can produce the wear and tear of the moving parts. Means suppose if you see the tires, some of the vehicle tires won't be properly maintained. So you can see the cracks, the almost all the reduced in the size, the flat tires going to be like that. This is one of the disadvantages of the friction. So wear and tear of or tear of moving parts. One of the disadvantages of the friction. The second disadvantages of the friction is, suppose if the vehicle was used for the long time, in that case there is a possibility for the objects are to be rusted. This rust can produce enormous heat energy, and this heat energy can decrease the lifespan of the vehicles. Rusting decrease the lifespan of vehicles. Which creates some unnecessary noise pollution, and exhaust of more heat energy, which creates the decrease of lifespan of the vehicles. Therefore, we can write noise pollution, exhaust of heat energy. And sometimes it goes to the seize the vehicle also. So these are the disadvantages of the friction. The next concept is methods of reducing friction. There are many ways to reduce the friction. If you want to give the durability of any object for a long time, if you want to increase the durability, so we should reduce the friction. The first one, by polishing. If we see the tiles in a room, marbles in a room, a wood which is furnished due to the many chemicals, with the help of chemicals, which gives a smooth feel for us. That's why we are removing the friction as much as possible. That's why the lifespan of the object, whether it is a wood, whether it is a marble, which gives for the more time. So by polishing, we can reduce the friction. Best example, marbles, wood, shoe polish. Near the shoe polish, which can remove the dust. By removing the dust, the roughness of the shoe material will be removed. The shoe can be used for long duration. Second one, by using lubricants. Lubricants means some of the oils which can remove the rust, which can increase the catalyst reactions in the vehicle. Suppose if the motor vehicle, before dropping the petrol or diesel, we are using some lubricant, servo 40 or servo 20, these type of lubricants, which can reduce the friction in the internal mechanism of the bikes. So these lubricants like grease, like servo 40 or servo 20, which can reduce the friction, which increases the speed of the vehicle. So grease, oils, cycle oil, these are all the examples for the lubricants which can reduce the friction. By using ball bearings. If you see the cycles, motor vehicles, they have ball bearings. Those ball bearings are spherical in size and smoothly designed, which can rotate the wheel freely. If the ball bearings was removed from the part, the rotation of the wheels will be so difficult. So the ball bearings which are immersed in the grease will give a smooth feeling to rotate the wheel of the vehicle to any direction. Best example, cycle type vehicles. Next example, streamlined design. If you see the ships, aeroplanes, helicopters, these wings and the whole structure is made up of a streamlined design. Because if it is not in the streamline, it creates a lot of friction with respect to the atmospheric pressure. That's why this streamlined design of aeroplanes, ships will create the reduction of the friction, which can move the bodies very easily. Aeroplanes, ship, etc. So these are the different ways to reduce the friction of the vehicles or to reduce the friction of the objects what we are using in our daily life, as well as this reduction of the friction can increase the lifespan of it. The next concept is methods of increasing friction. The rough and tough use of any object without proper maintenance and servicing, which can increase the friction. So the examples in the scientific words, by adding the weight or by increasing the weight. The best example to increase the friction of the body. So if the weight is increased, the normal force will be upwards, more upwards, which is very difficult to move the body. Second one, by keeping the object dry. This is also one of the example. Means if the object keep dries, it will be very easily contaminated with the help of the atmospheric moisture. So rust will be created. That's why the free motion of the object is very, very difficult. The third one, by making the surfaces rough. If you keep on keeping the surfaces rough, means not properly lubricated or not properly oil coated, the surfaces will be rough and rough more than. So then the friction applied or friction imparted by the surface will be more. We can see the examples in our daily life. So these are the three steps which can increase the friction. In space there will be no friction, that's why it is very difficult to hold a glass or hold a pen or pencil or any object with our fingers, because it is weightless space, so that's why friction is very difficult to assume there.